Hello, welcome to IDD Talks. My name is Anastasia Larina, and today we have a very special guest. Joining me now is Nigar Arpadarai, UN climate change high-level champion for COP29 in Azerbaijan and member of Azerbaijani parliament. Warm welcome to IDD Talks.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. So with COP29 outcomes in mind, how do you foresee the global evolution of the green agenda? What role do countries like Azerbaijan play in advancing this transition?
Thank you, Anastasia. It's great to be on your program again. Well, I think that everyone remembers the dramatic last days of COP29 negotiations and the fact that the deal on finance goal was achieved in the very last few hours. But we made it. We made it, and Azerbaijan will always remain a massive breakthrough in the green agenda because never before in the history was such a large financial commitment agreed upon. And it's not only that the previous financial commitment from Denmark a few years ago was 100 billion compared to Baku's 300 billion a year to the developing world by 2035, but it's also that in Baku at COP29, we advanced substantially on other mechanisms, including Article 6 of Paris Agreement on high integrity carbon markets, if you remember. And we made a long overdue breakthrough on UN carbon markets that could reach $1 trillion per year by 2050. And we also secured ambitious commitments from global actors to reduce emissions. And there was a very, there were so many historical decisions that made at COP29, I must say, and this historic breakthroughs as part of the Baku Climate Unity Pact proved that countries can agree and that this, multilateral process can deliver. And just to remind again you that COP29 was the second largest COP ever with more than 70,000 people and 80 world leaders attending our COP. But you have asked the correct question, what now? And I would say that we will now work with everyone to follow through the COP29 outcomes. We will work with governments, with international financial institutions and the private sector, philanthropic sector to scale up climate finance. This is very much close to me because the role of high-level champion envisages exactly this, the engagement of non-state actors. Another trend and another kind of news is that the biggest news, I would say, is that the new American administration and the US withdrawal from Paris Agreement. But let's remember that it's not the first time that America steps out. And from the last time this happened, states advanced in green energy transition. And it's currently one of the most active investment markets from them. And especially, when you talk to private sector people, they see so many opportunities in green transition. It's extremely important to mention. And, over all this couple of months that I've been in climate community, we always discuss the future of the green agenda, how it's going to be. And I'm personally a pragmatic, and from the day one, I think that I was always repeated that climate agenda, green transition is not a religion. And we should act based on the need for wider consensus and engagement of stakeholders from all walks of life. And to achieve this, we obviously need to be resilient and responsive. And coming back to Azerbaijan, our country will serve as a locomotive of green transition for the region.
Right. In a recent interview with Chinese CGTN, President Ilham Aliyev discussed how Azerbaijan is utilizing its rich fossil fuel reserves to enhance its national green energy agenda, with an immediate target of 2 gigawatts of solar and wind electricity by 2027 and 6 gigawatts by 2030. How do you view this process and the potential impact?
Well, I think that when Azerbaijan laid out its vision to the climate community, many people in the climate community were surprised, even a little confused. We openly opposed oil shaming, where oil producers are sidelined and vilified. Oil is not evil or bad. It's a natural resource that plays an important role. But it does not mean that we stop or delay green transition. We understand our responsibility and we invest in green transition. We use oil to speed up this green transition. We always were open about our history and our vision for the future. That was our position always. And I can compare the reaction of climate community to the words of our president in Berlin at Petersberg Climate Conference before COP29, when he laid out this vision, and when he has done it at COP29 in Baku. And I can confidently say that Azerbaijan's position was accepted and appreciated, because our country today is on the firm path in terms of green energy transition. We have ambitious plans, and we do it mostly with solar and wind energy. And there are other potentials that are being studied now, including, for example, geothermal.
Indeed, very interesting. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan agreement to build a green energy cable under the Caspian Sea is also significant development. How do you see these agreements strengthening regional cooperation among the mentioned countries, and what role does it play in advancing broader Central Asia, Caspian Sea cooperation?
I think that this is an extremely important project, I must say, and the cable that you have mentioned is a natural continuation of the topic that we discussed in the earlier question, because the major wind and solar projects require integration of electrical networks to improve exchange capabilities. And Trans-Caspian cable is exactly such project. But it's important also in the transit potential for Azerbaijan, because we aim at becoming not only exporter of green energy, but also transiting market for energy flow between Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So this is extremely important project. And generally speaking, if we speak about the global climate action, I strongly believe into regionalization. Regionalization is important because we speak about the global process, and it shouldn't be coming from up to down. There should be, it should be merging on the regional level, and then it will be more realistic and it will be more implementable. So that's why I think that it's extremely important project.
And my last question, with COP30 on the horizon, how are preparation proceeding? What lessons from COP29 should guide COP30's discussions? And there are any specific issues you would like to see prioritized in Brazil during COP30?
The COP30 drive is on. And just to remind you that Azerbaijan's presidency in COP process continues, and our priority now is to support COP30 presidency. That's the utmost priority for us, and to engage with, we will be engaging with multilateral development banks, with private sector, with alternative finance stakeholders to deliver Baku to Belém roadmap to 1.3 trillion. And we would like to continue the COP29 action agenda initiatives and declarations. If you remember, we have introduced 14 declarations, 14 initiatives, and they have been widely endorsed by many stakeholders, including parties and non-party stakeholders, including governments and private sector and many other partners. So we will be continuing this, obviously. And as high-level champion, I have a number of mandated events because we also started in Baku an active private sector engagement campaign, and we found a lot of positive feedback from the market. And I'm proud to hear reflections of our efforts on many levels, including key people in UN system. So for us, everything continues. We have so many plans and campaigns that we will be proceeding with, but the main priority now is to support COP30 presidency. And COP30 is going to take place in a complex world that's not getting easier. But we did it in Baku, and I'm sure that our colleagues in Belém will also be extremely successful.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining IDD Talks today.
Thank you. Thank you.